It is a foggy December morning in Bhairahawa and we are headed for a 3 days road trip to Muktinath. We'll be covering some places in Pokhara, Tato, Pani. I'll show you the roads, the final destination and some tips along the way.
Give it to you.
We just left Siddha Baba Temple. It's a Lord Shiva temple right outside of Butual and entering Palpa.
So we left the house around 6 a.m. and we stopped for a breakfast in Dumra. It's a place and where you can eat like really good Nepali authentic breakfast at around 7:51 a.m. So and now we are headed to Palpa.
As you start to enter Palpa, you'll see a lot of beautiful houses, small towns, and just taking in all this scenery along the way. You may also experience motion sickness because the roads in Nepal, especially in the hills, is kind of twisted and turned. So please watch out for that. Be prepared, have your meds, and eat lots of citrus food. We're taking a quick break just to appreciate this beauty and also to stretch our legs. We can see Mount Fishtail from here. We're still traveling among the hilly parts of Nepal, about to enter Syangja. Definitely get some oranges if you can. They help with the motion sickness if you have any, and also they are local and fresh here, really tasty oranges.
We're still in Syangja Market.
We're just crossing another town in Syangja. It's very fascinating to see all these big and small houses built along the edges of the hills.
These are houses here.
We should be approaching Pokhara by noon.
Now we're here boat riding in Fewatal. We took a quick detour with our trip to Muktinath.
Pokhara is a 2-day trip by itself. There are so many beautiful places to see. We just stopped to see the Fewa Lake and the Thalbarahi temple here. You can get to the temple by a boat ride. We paid 500 rupees and extra for life jackets. Next stop is Vindavasini Temple. This was a must for us to see before we continue the rest of our trip to Muktinath. Ma Vindavasini will keep us safe for our journey through the mountains. By this time we are running somewhat behind schedule. It's about 3 p.m. and we are probably going to be skipping lunch. This also means there will be some night travel involved as we head to Tato, Pani.
So we crossed Pokhara and now we are entering Baglung. We are still on our way to Tato, Pani, which is where we're gonna do some hot spring bath and then make our way to Muktinath.
Enjoying these roads before we get into gravel roads in the mountains.
It's 6 p.m. We reached Beni finally and the road here was absolutely roller coaster. Absolutely.
We're trying to keep our calm by singing songs in these terrifying roads. So the pro tip is definitely get a very experienced driver. Our driver is really experienced and has good control of the car. After a long and very difficult terrain, we made it to Tato, Pani. It took us 2 hours from Beni Bazaar to Tato, Pani and we finally made it to the hotel. Delicious Takali food at Hotel Himalaya and a quick view of the room. I cannot wait for the long night's sleep and tomorrow morning we'll be heading to the hot spring at Tato, Pani. Make sure you're carrying extra clothing for the hot spring. We had to buy some at the local shop.
Breakfast Tato, Pani with hot puri and sabji.
Overall, we really enjoyed our hot bath at Tato, Pani. It was really rejuvenating and very calming, but don't stay there more than 20 minutes, otherwise you will feel dizzy.
And the view is also really amazing. You can hear the water sounds. After the breakfast from Tato, Pani, we are now headed to Jomsom. We'll be stopping along the way for some scenic views as well as hiking to Butarcho Lake. Since the road is really narrow, as you can see, we have to stop to give the way to the bus. Again, it's really important to get an experienced driver like ours. He was absolutely amazing. Not trying to scare you, but sometimes it may feel like the car is going to tilt over, but for the drivers here, it's pretty common. I believe you can also take a flight from Pokhara to Jomsom, but we really wanted to experience the road trip. We are very close to the place from where we'll be starting hiking to the lake. It is day 2 around 1 p.m. We'll park our car near this village and head for the hike.
Alright, so we are starting hike to Saikong Lake, and it's kind of a impromptu hike, so we're also not prepared. We'll see how far we go. And there is our cameraman Kushi leading the way to this hike, unstoppable. And that's our driver. He's like a Spider-Man. He's like, all right, it's not that bad, while rest of us are dying here. Me too. Still alive. And here is the lake. We finally made it. Woohoo!
And this is Lake Butarcho, 2600 meter above sea level in Annapurna Conservation Area. The water is really clean. We made it through the hike, but please make sure you have proper hiking gears and good shoes so you don't slip off. And if you have altitude sickness or breathing problem, please be careful. The hike was totally worth it. We completed the hiking in a reasonable time. It's day 2, 3 p.m. Now we are headed to Jomsom to make our way to Muktinath.
So we just exited Jomsom, and this is the way from Jomsom to Beni. So far it's not bad. It's a little bit of gravel road, but looks okay for the most part. I mean, we have seen worse than this, so. We're very close to Muktinath, and we just stopped to take a few pictures and videos, and this park is literally called Selfie Park, and there's a restaurant. The view is just beautiful. The journey was worth it. All the roads and however many struggles we went through was totally worth it to see this view.
We are now really close to Muktinath, almost 11 kilometers. The roads have gotten significantly better from Tato Pani or yesterday's rides. We are really enjoying these roads. Some more scenic views for you along the way. I really couldn't get enough of it. They are absolutely gorgeous. We have now arrived in Muktinath village, where we'll be staying the night and go to the temple in the morning. It's at walking distance. If you're trying to visit the Muktinath temple early in the morning, make sure you arrive there the day before so that you can get to the temple and leave before 9 a.m. because there are some restrictions. This is the hotel we'll be spending the night. It's called Nightingale Hotel. It was recommended by our driver. It's a really low budget hotel. The houses here are usually made of wood to give extra coziness. They were really nice to provide us with extra blanket for the freezing night. You have to actually collect water the night before, so to make sure you have water the day off because the temperature gets really cold, and this is in the month of December.
Yes.
Some clips of Muktinath area at night under the moonlight at the end of day 2. And we are ready now to go to the temple. Just a quick view from our hotel, and we can actually see the temple from here. It's really freezing outside. The temple time got changed from 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock, so we are now waiting before we head to the temple. There are quite a lot of steps that you need to take to get to the temple. I'm right now in the middle, as you can see. And this is the other side. Once you get to the main temple gate, there are more steps to take. Har Har Mahadev! It was so freezing that we stopped here. There's a place where locals live, and they were actually preparing their food, so they were kind enough to offer us some fire so we could actually warm up our hand. Due to the altitude as well as the cold weather, it was somewhat difficult to breathe as we're climbing up to the temple. But here's a quick view for you all of the Muktinath temple. And this is 108 Dhara, where devotees come in and bathe before entering the temple. It is believed to cleanse your sins and just purify yourself. We just ended up sprinkling ourselves with the water as it was really freezing. So if you plan on taking this bath, make sure you're carrying extra pair of clothing as well with you. We actually made it to the temple in a really good time, so we were able to attend the morning aarti, and then we visited some nearby temples around this. There's Shiva temple, and then there's also a Buddha park that I'm going to show you next. And this is the Buddha park right next to Muktinath temple with a really big statue of Buddha. The wind was brutal due to the altitude. May to September are better months to travel if you're trying to avoid the freezing temperature, but then it also gets more crowded. We have a few more places to visit on our way back, so stay tuned for that. Thank you so much for watching. I would love to hear your comments and your questions.